Yeah, so what's up, guys? Today we are going to talk about drop-down list. And yeah, so drop-down list ni nini? Ushaenda kudownload something and then ukapata kitu inakaa kama hii. Kuna ukifinya hivi inakupatia list of options, then unaweza submit ama ufinye download. Tuseme how do you want to download this format? Maybe hapa kuna PDF, kuna text file, image, whatever. Then you click here and it downloads. So this is hizi ndo zinaitwa hizo drop down list. Iko na a list of options which you can select and then you can either choose a single option or kuna others unaweza choose multiple option. So it's a drop down list, unaona. So here nime create na ukifinya hapo there's a bit of JavaScript that nita include today but not much. Hii JavaScript it pops up an alert message and it says the data has been successfully sent, you chose the Mango. So ukichoose hapa kitu inakuonyesha hiyo value yenye umechoose hapa. Sasa so that's what we're going to do. So how do you create this drop down list? The first element yenye utaiput inaitwa select element. Now this select ndo ita encompass hizo our list of options zenye tunataka kuput. So let me just write that select na there's opening tag na the closing tag. Now our options. So hapa ndo ndeka our list of options zenye nataka, tuseme kama we want to choose tuseme list of cars ama whatever, tuseme to a list of fruits. So kuna mango, another option. So utaput your option, opening tag na closing tag, option, and then uput tuseme kama banana and another option, tuseme avocado. So let me click Control S, save, ndio ireplicate hapa. So nikiclick hapa you can actually see my list of options. So this is a simple drop down list, a list of options, but nataka kukuwe na placeholder. I don't want my initial value to become mango. I want a placeholder here that says choose the fruits that you want to select. A placeholder, it is something that you cannot select. So I'm going to come ndweke placeholder hapa kwa this drop down list. You will create an option, but your option utai disable, meaning a user cannot select that option. Unapata? So I'm going to create an option which I'm going to disable. Option, and let me remove this value attribute. I'm going to explain. So here choose your fruits here. Choose your fruits here. So as per now ikikuwa hivyo, it is one of the options available. Unaona, choose your fruits here, but I want to make it a placeholder, meaning you cannot select. Hiyo ni ile tu inajionyesha hapa in a gray format. So I'm going to add an attribute here, na unakumbuka nikiambia attributes they give more information to the element. So I'm going to add an attribute that says selected, meaning that this one which is selected, it's going to be disabled. Then I'm going to click save. So as you can see, sahi nikifinya hivi automatically says select, it is grayed. Unaona, I cannot select this, choose your fruits here. So hiyo ina act tu kama placeholder. I cannot select, it is not one of these options kwa sababu ya this attribute selected, disabled. Hapo so far so good. Sasa so kuna the server side programming which we are going to do later, that is PHP. Now nikiselect, tuseme nime add a value here, nime add a button, let's say submit button, then your button ya kusubmit, si ndio? Submit button. As per now nikifinya hii submit, nothing actually happens. Na hadi nikisubmit, no value is going to go to the server kwa sababu hapa hatujaonyesha ni value gani yenye itaenda kwa server. I don't know if I'm making sense or not. So hapa ndo hii attribute inaitwa value hii value yenye iko hapa yenye utaweka hapa ndani, it is the data that it's going to go now to the servers, now to the backend. Unaona, if I link this HTML with the PHP, nikiweka hapa value, tuseme value nimeka 1, ama tuseme our options were boys and girls, na boys nimeka 1, girls 0, meaning if I come here and I choose mango, tuseme mango, choose mango, since our value here is 1, if I click submit, this 1 ndo itaenda kwa the server. So nikiweka 1 hapo, tuseme hapa nimeka value 2, tuseme value 2, I just want you to understand value 2, na hapa tuseme value 3, value 3. So if I click save, nikisave, yes, user ataona alichagua mango, si ndio, akasubmit, but in the backend, in the server side, nikisubmit mango itaonyesha 1. So kwa hiyo server side programming, I can maybe filter, niseme let me filter on 1. So nikifilter 1 nitaona hizo the number of ones chosen, meaning nitajua hiyo 1 ni mangoes. Unaona, itakuwa easier kumanipulate your data. If for example the choices here were boys and girls, I can say boys to be 1 and girls to be 0 here kwa value, but user akikuja yeye ataikatoa hapa boy, yeye anaona boy na girl, but kitu ina happen kwa hiyo backend akisubmit ni these values 1 na the value yenye utakuwa umesema hapa. Sasa, so I hope you understand this value attribute, how it's used. It is used in the server side programming. That is where it applies the most. The user aoni the value that has been submitted. We kama programmer ndo unaamua ni value gani akichagua avocado, which value to be sent to the servers. Unaona? So I can use numbers ama I can actually use words. So niseme avocado, na hapa niseme banana. So akisubmit the word banana ndio itakuwa huko banana. Hapa tuseme mango. So ni sahi nikichoose, if I come here and I choose tuseme banana, if I submit the value banana ndio itaenda to the servers. I hope hapo umeniunderstand fiti. So I want to add a bit of JavaScript code yake. So ndo ni add JavaScript, I have to come here to the button and I will use an attribute called onClick. And onClick, I'm going to say it is equals to a function which I'm going to give this button. So don't worry so much about JavaScript right now, because we will do JavaScript tutorial later on when we finish the HTML part. So kuna hii attribute inaitwa onClick. So onClick is equals to what? OnClick is equals to a certain function that's going to happen. So onClick, tuseme hiyo function tuiteaje? Tuseme onClick, tuseme hiyo function tuite send to server. That is the name of our function, send to server. Na JavaScript functions zinakuanga na hizi brackets mbili. So send to server, that is a function that's going to be executed when I click this button. So let me click save. So sahi nikifanya hivi, nothing still happens because sija define your function exactly. What happens is send to server function ni nini? What is this function that is going to be executed once I click this button? So that is where we introduce our JavaScript code. JavaScript, there are two ways you can write your JavaScript code. You can do it internal ama external. External JavaScript entails you creating another file. So na kama hii ni HTML file, now you write another JavaScript file, extension yake ni .js, na internal you're going to use this script, and then sasa hapa ndani unaandika your JavaScript file. JavaScript normally unaiandika the last part after all your HTML and CSS code, the last one here. Kwa nini JavaScript inakujanga ya mwisho? If you write a JavaScript code here before, itaanza ku execute before it shows the content of your website. So that is why we write our JavaScript here. So imagine JavaScript code yako ni refu na iko huko juu. So user akiingia kwa website yako aoni hadi vitu za website kwanza, kwa sababu JavaScript kwanza imeanza kuexecute. So we put our JavaScript here chini, ndio our HTML part execute, so that the user can see the HTML and the CSS content, na the JavaScript iko the last to be displayed. I hope you may understand our JavaScript code at the bottom. So hapa nimesema function. So hapa nimesema ndatumia function. So I'm going to write this function. Na hii function ni gani? What is this function that I want to write? Ni send to server function. I want to define what this function does. So this function send to server, the one I've created, send to server function, nataka ifanye nini? So I'm going to use these curly braces, and inside here ndo nitaandika sasa, nitadefine the function send to server. What is actually this function that's going to be executed once I click this button? So this function, tuseme sahi sitaki to do the backend, whatever the backend processing of actually sending the data to the server, because in Intel PHP I just want nikiclick your button, an alert dialog to be displayed hapa kwa hii file, an alert dialog saying whatever you've selected, it has been sent to the server. So ndio ifanyike, we need to use a variable. Unanipata? So hii variable, kwa nini tunatumia variable? We are using a variable because we want to store the hiyo data yenye user amechagua.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't know if it makes sense or not, but just take your time and digest so that I can continue to explain. So I'm going to create a variable. Na hiyo variable yetu, variable they store data. A variable stores data. So ni data gani nataka kustore? Once I click select here, so for example, nime choose banana. I want to remember this banana so that nikisubmit, nijue, oh, I'm submitting this banana and I'm not submitting avocado or mango to the server. So that is why we create a variable. Variable, they store the data. So I'm going to give tuseme hii variable yenye nina create sahi inaitwa data. So I want in your mind form just a picture. Tuseme nime create a bucket. Your bucket inaitwa data. That's the name of our bucket, because nakwambia variable, it is used to store information. So nime create a bucket of which inaitwa data, and that bucket, it's now the variable. So that data iko na nini ndani? That bucket, what does it have? I want it to have the value that the user has chosen. Sasa, so how do I take that value? So nitakuja niseme hapa document dot get element by id, and that id ni gani sasa? So hapa kwa hii select, I am going to put an id here. Id is equals to, tuseme kama choices, which did I use here? Tuseme id yetu ni choices here, so no, this is the choices. So from this element, I'm going to put choices here. So choices, and from these choices, sasa so I select encompass easy option. From these choices, I want to get the value. So I'm going to put dot value. I want to get the value that the user will choose. So variable, we've created a variable data to store that value that the user is going to choose. Na hiyo value iko wapi? It is in these choices. Unaona hii id iko hapa ndani, iko encompass between this select, iko hapa ndani, unaona? So it can be any among these values that has been chosen. So variable, I know I want you to understand why we've created that variable and what is happening here. Dot value, we are getting one of these values that has been chosen. So after we get the value, what do? We want to display to the user using an alert box what is happening. So we are going to say alert, meaning your pop-up box inaitwa alert. So we're going to alert the user with what message? I'm going to put a string here. So the value message inasema the value has been successfully sent. The value has been successfully sent to the server. The value has been successfully sent. Alafu you chose what? You chose plus data. Mbona nimeisema hivyo? Mbona nimeweka hapa you choose the plus data? So hapa nimeequate hii data is equals to whatever the user will choose. So hapa inamaanisha this variable ndo iko na hiyo information yenye alichoose. That bucket is what it has that value that the user has chosen. Unaona? So nikasema plus data. meaning plus that bucket that contains the value that the user has chosen. So I hope you've understand by that, and I'm going to save. So when I come here, I choose avocado and I click the word submit. So it alerts, kuna hiyo alert, unaona this alert, this pop-up box that says the value has been successfully sent, you chose avocado. Unaona, if I come here and choose banana and I click submit, the value has been successfully sent, you choose the banana. Unaona, so kwa hii alert function inakumbuka aje that value you have chosen? Inakumbuka that value because we created a variable called data to store that information that the user has chosen. So that is the drop down list. If you didn't understand the JavaScript part of this presentation, don't worry, we're going to do JavaScript later on. I just wanted to show you how JavaScript is used. We created a button here in HTML, and that button we said on click we want a function to happen, na tukasema hiyo function inaitwa hiyo send server function inakuanga na hizi brackets mbili. So hiyo function tukakuja tukaidefine kwa JavaScript, tukasema that function that we've created here, send to server function, this is what happens to that function. We created a variable to store that information, that value that the user has chosen, and we stored it in a variable called data. Na tukasema hapa alert, we're going to alert the user with this message plus the data plus that value, kwa sababu hiyo data iko na hiyo value yenye user amechoose. So I hope you've understood the drop down list. If you didn't get the JavaScript, don't worry, we'll do it later on. So thank you for your time. Subscribe to learn for free.